What happens if I violate a protective order? First of all, for a protective order to be put into place, someone would have had to file it with the court, and then the judge would have had to review that protective order. We have an enormous amount of content about protective orders, what they are, how to file a protective order, and things of that nature if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Marc Lopez Law.tv. But what happens if someone were to violate a protective order that was granted, or that is what's called an ex parte order? Now, an ex parte order itself is when someone files a protective order, judge reviews it, believes there's enough in there for them to grant the protective order pending a secondary hearing. So that would be an ex parte order of protection. The other way is if you go to that hearing, which is a trial, again, videos on our YouTube channel, but if they grant a protective order, and then at that point you were to violate that order, you're looking at potential criminal charges. It's called invasion of privacy. Now, invasion of privacy carries a maximum penalty of a year in jail and a $5,000 fine. It's a Class A misdemeanor for your first offense. Now, let's say you were to violate a protective order for a second time, or you have an invasion of privacy against the same person who's protected in the past. So this would, in a sense, be a second invasion of privacy. Well, then we're starting to talk about a level 6 felony. Now, with a felony, you start looking at 2.5 years in the Indiana Department of Corrections and a fine of up to $10,000. So if you were to violate a protective order, again, protective order is being civil in nature, but if you violate that, it becomes criminal. Now, depending on the county in which the protective order is granted or which the invasion of privacy were to occur, a lot of courts have local rules when it comes down to crimes involving domestic battery or domestic violence. An invasion of privacy falls under the umbrella of a domestic violence crime. Now, if you do that, the local rules, especially let's say in Marion County, Indiana, a lot of times will have you spend 24 hours in jail before you're even eligible to be released. So if you have a protective order granted against you, that person who has the protective order, that protected party, essentially kind of controls a lot of the situation in your life at this point. Because any minor violation, hey, he texted me. Hey, I saw him at the grocery store, he didn't leave. I saw him out and about and he approached me just to say what was going on. All those, while they seem minuscule, is a criminal offense. And technically, each time you talk to them, you violate the protective order, is a new charge. You can send 13 text messages, that's 13 new charges. All of a sudden, you start looking at 13 years, one for each case. So protective orders are very, very serious. A violation of that protective order, even more serious, because then you start talking about taking away your life, taking away freedoms, liberties that you have. So if you or anyone you know has a protective order placed against you, it's very important, number one, you fight it originally, but number two, abide by it. If you find yourself in that situation, give us a call, 317-632-3642. Remember, always plead the fifth.